Hey everybody, just me, Mr. Karam here with day 3, part 3 of our lecture series. This is sort of a review video. We'll have done these all in class, but I wanted to give everyone the opportunity to be able to review these things. So this is Elements of Music. Like I said, day 3, we've talked about rhythm and talked about the categories in rhythm: meter, tempo, and note duration. And we talked about pitch. We talked about intervals and chords, melody and harmony. Now we move on to, like I said, day 3 of 4. And now we have form and structure. So diving into this a little bit, let me just see if I can do it like this. Is that all right? Yeah, let's go ahead and try this. So the term I use sort of loosely is structure, but the term in sort of the music field is more form. Form is sort of, I guess, the more accepted vernacular. So the quick definition of form or structure is the design of the piece or the design of the song. It is the roadmap or the layout. When you're looking at the big picture of the song, start to finish, what are the sections and how do they relate to one another? Okay, so let's dive into some examples of form. The red ones you see are the ones we're going to talk about today. The black ones are important and we'll talk about at a later date. So the first is strophic. We have binary form, ternary form, through composed, sonata allegro, rondo, and verse chorus. These are not all of the forms, but these are 7 of the most used, most common forms that we'll see in music. And when I'm talking about music, I'm talking, this is the music you might be listening on Spotify. This is choral music. This is symphonic music. This is early, Baroque. I mean, this is everything. This is what you're going to see in a lot of music. So again, if you want to take a second, because you're supposed to be taking notes, didn't mention that, but you're taking notes because there will be a quiz. If you ever need a second, obviously, to pause, just pause it and do that. So the first we're going to look at today is strophic form. Yeah, I was kind of right there. Okay, there we go. Strophic form. Get my little window set. Strophic form is repeated verses, usually with varied text. Now, instead of the word verses, the word that I should be using is musical material. So it's repeated musical material, usually with varied text. So the music, the pitches and the rhythms repeat. They're the same thing, but the text is different from verse to verse. So the words are different. The lyrics, I don't use the word lyrics a lot. I prefer, especially in choral music and sort of solo music, I use the word text much more than lyrics. Now, if it's like pop tunes, then I'm going to use the word lyrics. But in this setting of choral music, solo music, like solo and ensemble kind of stuff, classical, we use the word text. So, oh no. Okay, it brought me back to the beginning. I don't know how that happened. That's strophic. Here is an example of strophic. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. You can even see here that at the top of the song, at the very beginning of the song, it lays out verse 1. Deck the halls with okay. Then there's a verse 2. See the blazing Yule before us. Then number 3, fast away the old year passes. I know it's Christmas and this is not Christmas time, but a lot of Christmas tunes have a strophic structure, which is, like I said, it's straight through and it's repeated musical material with varied text. So the next one we're looking at today is binary form, and this is 2 contrasting musical sections. So we have what we call an A section and we have a B section. right? So, and the A and the B can be related, but they're not the same. And we'll look at an example of that in just a second. So here is an example of how we would label binary form. By the way, if you have not noticed, bi is a prefix that means two, like bilingual. If you're bilingual, it means you can speak two languages, right? So binary form. Here's an example of how we label. Just capital A is label 1. Capital B is a label 2, and I'll show you an example of that in a second. Another label example is called would be for rounded binary would be A, B, A1. No, not the steak sauce. So rounded binary is when we do A section and B section, and then we come back and we finish with an A. And it A1, now the reason it's labeled A1 is because A1 is very, very similar to A, but there are some variations. There's some subtle changes from A. So we kind of we say, well, it's not a C. It's an A again, but it's different than the first A. So we call it A prime 1. And actually, the 1 there is supposed to be a supertext, or a superscript, like an exponent. That's what it would look like, but I couldn't figure that out. So maybe at a later date, I'll be able to do that. So here is an example of how we would label these things. Here is, you can see there in the red, there's A. That starts the A section. And then there is, down here is a B in the B section. Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, it will be in the valley of love and delight. That was the A section, and it immediately goes into the B section. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be a delight, till by turning we come round right. So you can see that the A and the B are different. It's different musical material. They contrast, but they contrast. I guess there's no but. There's just. So here's an example of binary form. You're going to hear a piano piece. Follow the little tracker on the bottom. Hold up. Let's start this over. My apologies. I couldn't get that. So we're in the A section now, the tracker on the bottom. This, like I said, this is the A, and it's going to repeat the A. Now we're in the B section. You can hear it's related, but it's not the same. It's going to repeat the B section. Quick little example, really good example of binary form. So that particular piece was A, B, B. And since it finished with a B, it was binary. If it finishes with an A, it's rounded binary. But that's a little more semantics at this point for our purposes with this. So here is verse chorus, an example of verse chorus. So in a lot of verse chorus, and by the way, the numbers at the top left of all of the little symbols there, the little icons, is relative. This would be for a particular song. But in verse chorus, there's an intro. Some intros, might be 10 seconds, and some might be 10 minutes. It just depends. I mean, I've listened to songs that have 10-minute intros. A lot of rock can do that too. So intro, then verse 1. So verse 1 is some musical material to kind of intro the song, and the chorus usually then amps up the song a little bit and gives you more of that tune, that melody. Instrumental break a lot of times to continue to establish and reiterate the key, the tempo, those sort of things. The verse 2 is the same musical material as verse 1, but usually on new text. So the verses tend to give songs more substance. Then a chorus kicks back in, and the chorus is the same musical material as the first chorus, typically. And again, it kind of amps up the dynamic, sometimes amps up tempo, things like that. Provides like that toe tapping moment in a lot of songs. Another instrumental break, and then there's a bridge. Now, bridge is a great kind of songwriting device used in a ton of music nowadays, because if you just kind of go verse chorus verse chorus verse chorus verse chorus verse chorus, it gets a little mundane and a little repetitive. So they invented the bridge, which is new musical material that can be introduced. And the bridge's job is to, as the name implies, connect one chorus to another without using a verse. So they want to vary up the music. So what they do is they write a bridge that changes the musical material we've not heard in the song yet. And the purpose is, like I said, to connect a chorus to another chorus without using a verse. Okay, so that's verse chorus form. This is sonata allegro form. Don't worry about that. In fact, that's really pixelated, so that's going to be a later date. So that is it on style, on structure and form. Next, we're going to dive into instrumentations. Not today. This is a later date, but we're going to look at instrumentation and the two topics in instrumentation, which are texture and timbre, two really important aspects. And at the end of that, we'll touch on a few things that make up music, that help make up music, because you might be thinking, wait, what about this? Or what about this thing? You haven't talked about this yet. There are a lot of other factors of music that contribute to music, but these are the four things that have to exist in music in order to make it such. So that's what I've got, you guys. And keep studying. There will be a quiz on this. There will be classroom discussions and things of that nature. So just let's keep doing what we do, and I will see y'all later. Bye.